At a new pond and don't know what to throw? Well, listen up for some quick tips so that you can catch fish at any pond you go to. Welcome back, you awesome anglers. It is I, Herschel, the Largemouthed Angler, and we're here to talk about some pond fishing today, how you can catch fish in any pond, and specifically in stained or dirty water. One of the things that I love about pond fishing is the differences that you get between all of them. You know, in this case, I've got some stained, some kind of dirty water behind me, but you'll have ponds with clear water, you'll have ponds with just super muddy water, and you have all types of different vegetation, whether there be none, there be some reeds or some kind of vertical stalky stuff, or matted grass and pads. There's just so many things that are different, and a lot of times these ponds of all different types are within a short jog of your home. One of the things that we're going to talk about today that I actually deal with a lot fishing here in Texas is stained or dirty water. And the way I'm going to define stained or kind of dirty water is when you start losing clarity at a couple of feet. So let's say you have 2 to 5 foot of clarity. Actually, some of the ponds that I fish are not that deep at all. Maybe they're only 6 to 10 feet of deep. And so I can actually see the bottom in those cases, and that for me may be ultra clear, even though that's not considered ultra clear in some conditions. But for me it is. But today we're going to be talking more on this stained and dirty water. And I'm going to try and break it down to 3 different levels. What you're going to throw on top, what you're going to throw in the middle of the water, and what you're going to throw for the bottom. Okay, so let's get right to it. Okay, so now if I have some stained or dirty water like I have right behind me, and let's say for vegetation I'm seeing mostly reeds or some vertical stalk type of plant there. Well, for the top portion of the water, I'm actually going to recommend throwing a weightless swim bait. Okay, and then for the middle portion of the water, I'm going to recommend throwing a spinnerbait, and for the bottom, something like a crankbait or actually a Texas rigged lizard. The crankbait would be really good if you have a really hard bottom because it'll help bounce off of everything, but you can really throw it on any ground. It doesn't matter that much at all. Me personally, I'm a huge fan of something that's a Texas rigged lizard, creature, whatever it may be. I just seem to catch stuff on those all the time. Now, with a pond that's stained or dirty, with some, let's say, some matted grass or some pads, for the top portion, I'm going to recommend throwing a hollow body frog. For the middle portion, I'm going to go with an underrated guy in my opinion, and that's going to be a swim jig. And for the bottom portion, again, I'm going to go with something Texas rigged, but more like a creature or a beaver. Right now, my personal favorite is the Rage Tail Crawl in green pumpkin. Last and assuredly not least, we have a stained or dirty pond with basically no vegetation. This is what I would recommend throwing in those cases. Okay, for the top portion of the water, I'm actually going to recommend a popper or maybe even like a popping frog. For the middle portion, I'm going to go with a spinnerbait, and for the bottom, I'm going to go with a Texas rigged worm or even a crankbait. Again, in this situation, for me, I almost feel like I can't beat a Texas rigged worm, and I know some may think that I'm going to recommend something like a stick bait, like a Senko, but actually my go-to is a Zoom Magnum Ultra Vibe. It's a 7-inch worm, a little bit of a ribbon tail on the end of it. Not really a true ribbon tail, but it's got a little bit of a curl tail on the end of it in a green pumpkin color. I don't know what it is, but I seem to be able to throw that, and every time it seems like I can catch fish on it. Now, considering colors, okay, whenever you're dealing with water where you're losing clarity, generally it's recommended using bright colors or using something that's really dark like blacks and reds and, well, blacks and blues and maybe even some red thrown in there. When you get clearer water, you're going to go with more natural colors and all of that. I have personally found in something like a stained or dirty water condition that Fire Tiger is crazy good, especially like on a crankbait, whether it be a lipless crankbait or mid diving, deep diving, you name it there. That seems to catch more for me. In the case of something like a spinnerbait, even though I may be in a situation where it says that the black and red would be better and that you need to have the Colorado blades and all of that, I have actually personally found that I catch even more on a like a white or a shad kind of colored spinnerbait with some chartreuse in it and the willow leaf blades. Now, all of that's just generalizations. One of the things that I am lucky to have is here in Texas, we have the Texas Parks and Wildlife, and they post what type of fish are in all the major lakes in the region itself. And so I can actually go in there and see all the fish and what type of bait fish there are. And I use that to try and help me figure out what bait fish are in the ponds that I'm going to be at as well. And the reason why I recommend all of that is that the best way to ever put a color out there is to try and match the hatch, in my opinion. Okay, you want to think about what type of fish the bass are eating, and you want to try and match those colors. So that's what I usually try to throw whenever I'm fishing. How about you? What works out best for you in these different situations? Please let me know in the comments below. And remember, fishermen are cool. That's the reason why Jesus picked a bunch for his apostles. Again, it's me, Herschel, the Largemouth Angler. Please subscribe so you can get all the rest of the updates for everything else. Be sure to go out there and fish, because it's better to go out and fish and catch nothing than it is to not go out and think about what you could have caught. Hope y'all have a good one.